The law offices of Targowski and Grow remind you to stand up for your rights. Always treat law enforcement with respect, but if you're detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search or seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to talk to my attorneys, John Targowski and Daniel Grow. Targowski and Grow have the education and experience you need to be successful in Michigan courts. Call Targowski and Grow toll-free, 800-957-1069. The law offices of Targowski and Grow, 800-957-1069.
Hi, Buddy here at Clio Cultivation, calling out to all new growers and to remind old friends how we are different. Our number one goal is to assist you with customer service, product knowledge and selection, the guaranteed lowest prices in our industry, and inside information others don't want you to know. We have a grower's handbook by the Garden Sage for $25 that will save you countless time and money. Spend $500 on a single sale and it's free. We will help you in every way to get started and stay growing strong all year long. March specials include 8-inch Raptors, $199, 1,000-watt switchable magnetic ballast, $89.95, complete 1,000-watt systems, $179, RO machines, $149, 8 light T5s, $189, Ocean Forest and Happy Frog, $13.95, no limits. We are constantly making improvements and are proud to help you lead the way. Come to 11394 North Saginaw Road, where each relationship is personal and genuine, or call 810-686-GROW, 10 to 7 weekdays, Saturday 10 to 5. As you learn with Clio Cultivation, the only thing in the dark is the flowers.
Are you a business that Michigan medical marijuana patients would be interested in? Here's an opportunity to list in the Michigan Medical Marijuana Business Directory for free. People from all over Michigan come to the Michigan Medical Marijuana Business Directory to find goods and services at local establishments. List yours for free by going to mmma.biz and click on Add Business. You can even choose to add features to your listing that add additional benefits. Grow your business. List it for free at mmma.biz. That's mmma.biz.
Good afternoon. At the tone, time will be real time.
He is a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and reporter who reports for Detroit Fox News 2, and his new book is Detroit, An American Autopsy. Charlie LeDuff. Charlie. Hey, how are you?
Good to be here, man. Thank you.
Now, did I call you a reporter there? Yeah, I know you say you're a reporter and not a journalist, right? Or is it a journalist and not a reporter?
I like to be a reporter because a journalist can type without looking.
Detroit is in the news this week. This is very timely because the governor is going to take over the city of Detroit. It's in such bad shape, it hit rock bottom. How do you know, first of all, I thought it hit rock bottom like in '68.
Well, when you have more murders in a city of 700,000 than you have in Los Angeles or that you have in New York City, you got a problem. When the police don't show up to your house for 4 hours when you have a burglary, you have a problem. When tires fall off ambulances on the way to the hospital, you got a problem.
I shouldn't. That's not funny.
Yeah, you know, you don't cry if you don't laugh.
No, I know Forbes magazine, which knows something about Detroit.
Who reads Forbes, man? Come on, man.
I know, but they have a
When's
list.
the last time you read Forbes?
Oh, no, I use it to roll weed in. It's still the only big magazine. It's like those glossy pages, the seeds will go right off. No, but they do have a list of, like, the most miserable cities, and Detroit was number one.
Detroit was number one. Flint was number two. Warren, Michigan was number 7. So we got a big problem.
But why is that? I mean,
We're broke.
No, I know that. But why more than any other American cities? Why these Michigan cities? It's the auto industry?
It's manufacturing.
But see, here's what I don't understand. Like, GM is back. The car companies are back. They're selling cars. They're making profits. Why doesn't it trickle down to the people?
Well, first of all, thanks to you, they're back, right? The American people bailed them out. We didn't pay the full amount back, so thanks for that. We have a coherent industry. 2, it's global economics, is it not? The corporate headquarters are in the Detroit region, but where are the jobs? I don't think anybody in this watching this show, you, me, my mom, anybody, thinks the good times are back for us. In fact, I'm very afraid, and I think the country's very afraid, that nice middle class that floated everything is not coming back. Those factories are gone forever.
And you say that Detroit is sort of symbolic of the rest of the country?
It made the wealth.
How so?
Detroit was the richest city per capita in the United States, owned the most homes, and this was just 4 decades ago.
Okay, now but I read in your book that 40 years ago or 50 years ago, Detroit was 83% white.
Yeah.
And now it's 83% black. Now, every racist in America says, well, there's your answer right there.
And they would be wrong in a sense, because Detroit, when it was 83% white, was 2 million people. Now when it's 83% black, it's 700,000. The black middle class also left. So that 8 Mile we've all heard about, that doesn't exist anymore. What Detroit is urban misery, and nobody cares about them. Our brothers and sisters that share the planet with us. And you know what? They move too. They make economic decisions. So when your leadership has decided to rape you, make you promises, when we're playing with a race, and what it really is the black political class and the white business class dividing up what's left and screwing the people, right? Then we got a problem. We also got a problem outside Detroit in the white areas. There's no money. I just feel every American believes that the government's not looking out for them. Look, you take my taxes, spend them properly, stay out of my house, stay out of my bedroom, stay out of my life. Just do the things we're asking you.
Yeah.
This generation, the music stopped, and we found out the chair was gone.
Right. Yeah. But you live in Detroit now?
Yeah, I'm a mile out trying to... my daughter's the first in 11 generations not to live in this.
Why do you stay?
My point is I went back because I want my daughter... It's all I got. Is her grandparents, her 2 grandmothers.
Are you hopeful about Detroit? Is there any...
Yeah.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, we're going to be there.
Really?
Yeah, we're going to be there.
It's going to go up again.
The Roman Empire fell, and Italians are walking around with nice shoes on, man. We're going to be fine.
All right, Charlie, thank you very much. Very enlightening. I appreciate you coming on.
Hey, that was audio from last weekend's HBO, obviously, the Bill Maher Show, Real Time with Bill Maher. Welcome to the Political Twist-Up Show. You know, we meant to play that audio last week, but we had some network connectivity issues that prevented it from hitting air. So I wanted to replay it simply because we missed it last week. And then, you know, now that we're back on this week, I figured we'd get a chance to pop it back on, especially given the idea that something else happened in relation. I was watching Channel 7, which is WXYZ TV, that is here in Detroit, which is where our studio and our program originates from. And then I heard this.
Well, he describes his TV reporting as off the chain, but now there are allegations that Fox 2 reporter Charlie LaDuff was off the chain in his own personal life. A police report taken on Sunday indicates that LaDuff urinated in public after the St. Patrick's Day parade, got into a fight inside a private tent party, and then bit a security guard during the scuffle. The guard didn't want to go on camera, but his attorney said the guard was trying to help LaDuff, who appeared to be intoxicated, when LaDuff made some insulting comments to 3 women at that very party.
Wow.
The host of the party came over to him and said, did you really say what you just said? And he said, yeah, I said it. And then he spit in his face. He spit in the host's face. Mr. LaDuff then bites down on Sonny's hand, causing him significant injury.
7 Action News investigator Bill Proctor talked with LaDuff about urinating in public and the fight. LaDuff says he doesn't remember much.
No, I think I was behind the tent, possibly. I don't know. Let me see a picture. I don't think so. There's no reason to get your heads down. But like I said...
So there was public urination?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know.
You don't remember?
No.
Isn't that what...
I don't remember
Hey, you know.
Taking a leak.
Too much to drink?
Probably.
He said,
Police say they are taking the complaint seriously and will continue to investigate the incident. We placed several calls to Fox 2 management, but our calls have not been returned.
oh, Charlie falling from grace. It was just last week you were on the coveted Bill Maher Show, and now you're peeing behind a tent. What is going on, Charlie?
He literally bit the hand that was helping him. Oh,
no. Come on.
Well, that's what they said.
I'm not worried at all. I mean, Your Honor, I was so drunk I don't remember. Defense always works. So he's totally fine.
No probation for you. Case dismissed.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Poor Charlie. Poor Charlie.
He's just getting his Irish on, that's all.
Poor the guy that got his hand bit. That's ouch.
Look, he insulted women, and then he spit in the host's face, and then he bit down on somebody's hand.
The weird thing was that when I was watching the news piece, the video that accompanied it, when they said, significantly injured his hands, if you looked at the hands that were displayed, it looked like women's hands. There were like long fingernails, and they were clear polish on them, and it looked like
biting women.
You just libeled the man that owns those hands.
Just saying.
Dump the tape.
Welcome, as I said, to the Political Twist-Up Show. We're here every Saturday from 3 until 4. From coast to coast in Michigan, you can find us on politicaltwistup.com. In the studio, you've heard the voices of Rick, Denise, and Ryan. Denise Policella is a business attorney. Rick Thompson is a
ne'er-do-well that also urinates in public.
Rick, come on!
Ryan's a contributor and an all-around instigator, so...
There you go. Self-described. There you have it. And I'm Steve
Green. How did I come out sounding like the best one? I'm the lawyer.
Smelling like roses. Real quick, later on in the program, we're going to be talking to Rep. Mike Calton on House Bill 4271. It's a bill to allow for dispensaries in Michigan. It's really to allow for local cities to create legal rules which would give them some limited protection. Yes, Denise?
Yes.
Same kind of limited immunity that you would. It's still illegal, but you get limited immunity with this bill.
Well, no, the bill would actually create state-sanctioned provisioning centers, but it would allow municipalities to either allow them or disallow them and provide their own local regulations.
We'll talk about that in detail. That's coming up in just a bit. I just wanted to go over some of the stuff that was happening around your neighborhood, maybe not your particular neighborhood, stuff that's going on in the news. This story from Click on Detroit. Sources say Hazel Park police officer Matthew Viviano called in sick Wednesday. However, the cop was playing hooky. Detectives say Viviano hit the booze, got drunk, and then got behind the wheel. He later crashed in Lapeer. That is something that's notable.
That's big news.
It really is.
I mean, we've seen a lot of professional athletes and things like that do things of this nature, but elected officials?
Then Michigan could no longer let people openly carry guns into schools under a proposal, according to the AP, pushed Thursday by a lawmaker at the state's largest teachers union, which argued a loophole must be closed 3 months after the massacre at a Connecticut elementary school. There's actually no time to finish the news. I actually had a story from Kevin Orr. We'll get to that. We'll finish up this last real quick story with Kevin Orr. Coming back after the program break, you've reached a Political Twist-Up Show. The Political Twist-Up Show.
Well, this formula is specifically to grow cannabis.
That's Ray Kogo for Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients.
Now, everybody knows that large buds and tight buds come from genetics, and then the amount of light you use. The other part is having the correct nutrients that the plant's going to use. Mine specifically to grow cannabis, so it's going to get everything that it needs.
Ray knows what you may not. Those nutrient companies you can get in most grow shops are not cannabis specific. That means they take the stuff out of the bloom that your plant needs in bloom. You can get Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients too. It's just 2 1-gallon jugs that make over 600 gallons of nutrients, all for less than $100. See the difference for yourself.
More trichomes, bigger buds, faster growth, and for less money.
Go to CANNABISformula.com or call Ray Direct at 517-375-8998. That's 517-375-8998. Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients. The law offices of Targowski and Grow remind you to stand up for your rights. Always treat law enforcement with respect, but if you're detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search or seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to talk to my attorneys, John Targowski and Daniel Grow. Targowski and Grow have the education and experience you need to be successful in Michigan courts. Call Targowski and Grow toll-free, 800-957-1069. The law offices of Targowski and Grow, 800-957-1069. Hey, it's the all-new Political Twist-Up Show, and we air coast to coast in Michigan, Saturdays from 3 till 4. You don't want to miss it. Hey, check out our last show with Senator Jones and Rep. Townsend as they talked over Senate Bill 63, the Michigan Firearms Freedom Act bill.
It's absurd to say that legitimate requirements we have for pistols don't make sense for semi-automatic rifles that can be used in mass murder. I mean, I don't know a single hunter who thinks that you can get off more than 3 rounds firing at a deer. So why would somebody need to have 30 rounds or 40 rounds. The extremism, Senator, is coming from the National Rifle Association.
No, sir, you're the extremist because we weren't
I'm not the extremist,
large round
sir.
clips. What we were talking
And I
about.
resent being called an
You said
extremist,
you
and I think
wanted
you should check yourself,
owners
sir.
of semi-automatic rifles. That, sir, is an extreme viewpoint.
Hey, find out just how extreme it gets as we go next week, broadcasting live at the THC Expo at the Rooster Tail in Detroit. It's the all-new Political Twist-Up Show. Catch us at politicaltwistup.com.
Hi, Buddy here at Clio Cultivation, calling out to all new growers and to remind old friends how we are different. Our number one goal is to assist you with customer service, product knowledge and selection, the guaranteed lowest prices in our industry, and inside information others don't want you to know. We have a grower's handbook by the Garden Sage for $25 that will save you countless time and money. Spend $500 on a single sale and it's free. We will help you in every way to get started and stay growing strong all year long. March specials include 8-inch Raptors, $199, 1,000-watt switchable magnetic ballast, $89.95, complete 1,000-watt systems, $179, RO machines, $149, 8 light T5s, $189, Ocean Forest and Happy Frog, $13.95, no limits. We are constantly making improvements and are proud to help you lead the way. Come to 11394 North Saginaw Road, where each relationship is personal and genuine, or call 810-686-GROW, 10 to 7 weekdays, Saturday 10 to 5. As you learn with Clio Cultivation, the only thing in the dark is the flowers.
If you or someone you know received a traffic ticket, has been charged with a misdemeanor, drinking and driving, criminal offense, or has had their driver's license taken away, they need an attorney. They need attorney Glenn McCandless. He's helped hundreds of people solve their legal problems over the past 16 years.
My law firm is dedicated to providing quality legal services at affordable rates.
Call us at 586-755-2900. Again, that's 586-755-2900. Call now.
The Political Twist-Up radio show.
Okay, just picking back up from the news. We were talking about news. This from Kevin Orr. He's the emergency financial manager in the city of Detroit, appointed by Governor Snyder.
I may have to go to them and say, your expectation may need to change.
So, audio from the Detroit Free Press. They covered a news conference where Orr this morning said that Detroit's soon-to-be financial manager today now paid up on the state liens filed upon his Maryland home for unpaid unemployment insurance on child care for 2 of his kids. So, I guess the point that I wanted to make about that, in bringing that story up in the news, is that here you've got somebody that's appointed to oversee the financial condition of a city that is just on the rocks. And he's got issues of his own. I mean, these are significant issues with children and parenting and state law. Doesn't that kind of beg a question? I'm just guessing.
Well, if you can't pay your own bills, how are you going to pay the cities?
Right. I mean, just really. He made the announcement this morning, 2 days after Governor Rick Snyder announced him as his pick to take charge of fixing Detroit's finances and restructuring a city government drowning in debt. Get ready for that change. And what may come with it as a result of picking somebody who's got these kinds of baggages or this kind of legacy attached.
Well, realize anybody with that job is going to be attacked from all corners in Detroit. They're just not friendly to the emergency financial concept, and if he's got any vulnerabilities, they will be exploited.
Well, and let's just say this is not an easy task. None of this is easy from any angle you look at it, and I don't want to pick on the guy that's just now starting to get this going on. I'm just pointing out that, does it make sense that they picked somebody that has that legacy? Right there in the open. Just saying. So, to moving things along, with us on the phone, a Republican State Representative Mike Calton, and we brought him on today to talk about HB 4271. Rep. Calton, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
I can indeed. Thanks for coming on the program today, sir. Can you tell us a little bit about this House bill and maybe give us a little background? Bring people up to speed on what it is and what it means.
Okay, let me give you the background first. Now, when I'm not a representative, I'm a chiropractor, and I've always taken care of people for the last 25 years, and that's how I started becoming a believer in the medical marijuana, is by hearing some of my patients come in and tell me they thought it helped them with their pain or their glaucoma or their appetite if they were, especially I'm thinking of a certain cancer patient. Well, so now what's happened in the Supreme Court ruling not too long ago is they've ruled certain, patient-to-patient transfers illegal, and that's really closing down a lot of what we know as dispensaries. And so a patient of mine came in and said that, well, her sister's dying of cancer. She's down to about 85 pounds. And she was taking a candy that was helping her appetite. Now they're in this pickle because her dispensary closed. They're not going to grow their own, and by the time they grew it, I'm sure her sister will have been passed away by then, in the 4 to 6 months it takes to grow it. And they don't know a caregiver, and in fact, there aren't enough caregivers for all the patients that are out there. And so I really do think what we're using the term provisionary center model is something that really needs to be there, especially for this type of patient. And under the present way they've interpreted the MMA is that you can either grow your own, which is going to take 4 to 6 months. That's not an option for this person. Or you can get a caregiver who can grow for you, and that would take 4 to 6 months before you're planned for medicine. And that's not an option for this person.
Well, I would say it's not an option for most people that would need the medicine under the program. If they need the medicine, they can't go without it for 4 to 6 months.
Yeah, so anyway, my belief is that the day a patient gets a recommendation from a doctor that they should have medical marijuana, that day they should be able to go to a provisionary center, get that provision, and then be able to take that medicine and get that appetite back, get rid of that nausea, keep their weight on.
Right?
So that is my thoughts in the creation of House Bill 4271.
So it answers a question of lack of access at a time where it may be critical.
Exactly. And those are the people I think of the most when I think of lack of access, because the person I'm thinking of is in bed now. And she is dying, and she's down to 85 pounds. She cannot grow her own, and she doesn't know a caregiver. And so it is truly a lack of access for this patient. And I really don't think that that's what the Supreme Court really wanted to do, was to deny comfort to a dying patient. I
would agree, Rep. Calton. And I guess let's just really kind of look at what the Supreme Court did. What they did was to say that we had an election, we had this bill that the people voted in, and it did not include patient-to-patient access, which is what business models of dispensaries were hinged upon. Correct?
Say that again. It kind of muffled at the end.
I apologize. I'll repeat it. So basically what the Supreme Court did in looking at the overall ruling, the perspective of the ruling was the people passed this act. It was instituted, and it did not include patient-to-patient transfer in that provisioning in that act, in that people's initiative, and that patient-to-patient transfer, the patient-to-patient transfer was what these provisioning centers hinged on for a business model.
They were basically functioning off an extension of the patient-to-patient transfer concept.
Correct. Okay. So, and this obviously answers a problem for people don't have access where they would need it, given that they can't grow it or can't find a caregiver, and there is a limited caregiver community. Yes.
Exactly.
Now, what is you say? You've got some co-sponsors to this bill. It looks like there's several co-sponsors, both Republican and Democratic.
Boy, things have really changed in the year. Last year, I introduced a similar bill, and I had to pull teeth to get 2 co-sponsors. And a lot of people were saying to me, I support your issue, but I just don't want to go out there on the line and be a co-sponsor. So we've worked this issue for a year. We've had a lot of good lobbying. We've had a lot of good discussions, and things have changed. And so this time, a year later, I put in the bill, and I was getting lots of people who wanted to get their name on it. And so I entered the bill with 16 co-sponsors, 8 Republicans a Democrat, ranging from the most liberal to the most conservative. And even after I turned it in, several approached me and were disappointed that they missed the opportunity to be a co-sponsor. Things have really changed.
Wow. So looking forward, where is this bill at right now? Can you tell us where this is at in the legislature? It was introduced into the House, and then what happened?
It has been assigned to Judiciary Committee, and I'm waiting to get it scheduled. And I really do think in the next 3 months, although I don't have a date, it will get a hearing and be voted on. I've met twice now with the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Kevin Cotter, Representative Kevin Cotter, and he's agreed to hear it.
At the House Judiciary.
And that's good news, rather than just kind of like, sometimes they can put it on ice.
Yeah, let it sit there and die, a slow, painful death. And let people wonder in the meanwhile.
I said to Kevin, you may or may not agree with this, but I just wanted to have it stay in the sun and to get an up or down vote.
And and it looks like it's going to do that at the House level. Have you looked towards the Senate? Have you asked any senators about this issue? Have you looked at that end of the spectrum yet? I know that's kind of getting the cart in front of the horse, but I'm sure you've got to look at those tea leaves.
And you're right. We've done a lot of work this year, and I feel good that it's going to do well in the House. In the Senate, though, there's not been a lot of work done, and I'm not a senator, and senators sometimes, I think, look at representatives, because they were all once representatives for the most part.
Right.
They look at us as rookies, and we need a senator to really help carry it through the way I am going to carry it through the House. Wow. It would be good to have that person that's willing to go the extra mile. And we do have some that are very positive, and hopefully one of them will really take this bill over their shoulder and carry it through the Senate for us.
I'm certainly, personally, am hoping that this bill gets passed for a couple of reasons. Not only the obvious ones about, lack of access to people who critically need it, and this has devastating impact whether or not they have access in their life. It has immediate impact on their quality of life for a vast majority of the people that are in the program. So I'm glad that we're looking to find a way to answer that lack, that need, because it's sincere and it's heartfelt. I guess also the other reason I'm glad that you're doing this at the legislative level is because it's a long way to 2014, which is, the people in this program will easily put this through as a people's initiative if the legislature so fails to do it. So it would be an awful mark, I think, on the legislature to not actually have pulled this off and carried it through, and to just let this fall back into the people's lap and have their will be done on their own. And then you got to go back and it's got to be tested through the courts and all that kind of stuff, the same way that the MMMA did in the first place. Wouldn't you agree?
I do agree. And, if we'd have done a better job, the people who put together the MMMA, then we wouldn't be going through this right now. There were some imperfections there, but perhaps they felt if they asked for too much, it would not have passed. But it passed by such a strong margin that I think they could have added, for instance, the provisionary center model to it and still passed it by a long shot.
Hindsight
I
is...
do think that it would be egg on our face in the legislature if we do not act on this, and the people have to do it for us. That would be egg on our face. I agree.
That would be an awful thing. So I champion you, Rep. Calton, for taking this on. It's a difficult topic to take on. There's a lot of negative baggage attached to this subject, and I don't know why. Well, I do, but we won't go into that now. People in the studio, do we have any questions for Rep. Calton today?
Hi, Rep. Calton, it's Rick Thompson. In what portion of 4271 do we provide that deathbed sort of a relief for patients, or is that not included in the legislation as of yet?
Oh, no, there's not a specific deathbed legislation to it. I'm just saying that if 4271 establishes provisionary centers, so you would have that kind of store model that's open every day, and that day that that person in their deathbed gets their recommendation from their medical doctor, then they can that day have access to medicine that they could take that day and start getting relief that day.
But that's not part of the current bill, though, right?
No, what I'm saying, I mean, essentially that's what the bill would accomplish.
Is provide for the provisioning center. I guess he's missing the heart of your question, right?
But I suppose what you're suggesting is that physicians are able to do a fast-track approval for patients that are at near end of life. And 4271, the Provisioning Centers Act, really doesn't provide that sort of authority as of this time, right?
I'm not sure what you're actually asking. I'm not sure what you're getting at.
That's okay. We'll just move along.
Actually, I have a question. Hi, Rep. Colton. It's Denise Policella. How are you?
Hi, who's this?
This is Denise Policella.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you? We had Senator Jones on the show last week, and he was speaking to, a bit of the act and the purpose of the Medical Marijuana Act being for exclusively end-of-life care. Have you seen resistance when you've been talking to fellow legislators about the need for medical marijuana for chronic conditions where you don't necessarily see? I think some of the frustration my clients and some of the community have experienced is they go into a courtroom and the judge looks at them and says, well, you don't look sick. There are so many chronic conditions, cancer, and I'm sure you know so many of them as well, where you're not on your deathbed, but marijuana is doing a wonderful job at alleviating your pain, getting your appetite up, and also potentially getting you off some dangerous prescription drugs. Have you seen resistance from any of your fellow legislators who think that it's being, who are objecting to it based on that? Are they all pushing for only end-of-life care, or is it, becoming more broadly acknowledged for more broad use?
I think that, first of all, we start with a stereotype that we have to break. And the stereotype I have heard among several legislators is that, these patients aren't really sick, and they're just get highs from the 60s that just want to get stoned, or kids who just want to get stoned. So we start from there with a lot of people. And what I do when I run into people like that, I like to work with the end-of-life patient in talking about this. And the reason is, you cannot argue that they're not a patient. They're dying. They are definitely a patient.
Rep. Colton, we're about to go to break here. If you'll give us just a second, stick with us through the commercial break. We'll be right back and talk about House Bill 4271, a bill to allow for dispensaries, after this. The law offices of Targowski and Grow remind you to stand up for your rights. Always treat law enforcement with respect, but if you're detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search or seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to talk to my attorneys, John Targowski and Daniel Grow. Targowski and Grow have the education and experience you need to be successful in Michigan courts. Call Targowski and Grow toll-free, 800-957-1069. The law offices of Targowski and Grow, 800-957-1069.
Hi, Buddy here at Clio Cultivation, calling out to all new growers and to remind old friends how we are different. Our number one goal is to assist you with customer service, product knowledge and selection, the guaranteed lowest prices in our industry, and inside information others don't want you to know. We have a grower's handbook by the Garden Sage for $25 that will save you countless time and money. Spend $500 on a single sale and it's free. We will help you in every way to get started and stay growing strong all year long. March specials include 8-inch Raptors, $199, 1,000-watt switchable magnetic ballast, $89.95, complete 1,000-watt systems, $179, RO machines, $149, 8 light T5s, $189, Ocean Forest and Happy Frog, $13.95, no limits. We are constantly making improvements and are proud to help you lead the way. Come to 11394 North Saginaw Road, where each relationship is personal and genuine, or call 810-686-GROW, 10 to 7 weekdays, Saturday 10 to 5. As you learn with Clio Cultivation, the only thing in the dark is the flowers.
Well, this formula is specifically to grow cannabis.
That's Ray Kogo for Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients.
Now, everybody knows that large buds and tight buds come from genetics, and then the amount of light you use. The other part is having the correct nutrients that the plant's going to use. Mine specifically to grow cannabis, so it's going to get everything that it needs.
Ray knows what you may not. Those nutrient companies you can get in most grow shops are not cannabis specific. That means they take the stuff out of the bloom that your plant needs in bloom. You can get Kogo's original cannabis formula nutrients too. It's just 2 1-gallon jugs that make over 600 gallons of nutrients, all for less than $100. See the difference for yourself.
More trichomes, bigger buds, faster growth, and for less money.
Go to CANNABISformula.com or call Ray Direct at 517-375-8998. That's 517-375-8998. Kogo's original cannabis formula nutrients. Are you a business that Michigan medical marijuana patients would be interested in? Here's an opportunity to list in the Michigan Medical Marijuana Business Directory for free. People from all over Michigan come to the Michigan Medical Marijuana Business Directory to find goods and services at local establishments. List yours for free by going to mmma.biz and click on Add Business. You can even choose to add features to your listing that add additional benefits. Grow your business. List it for free at mmma.biz. That's mmma.biz. Political talk on the Multimedia Digital Network.
That, sir, is an extreme viewpoint.
The Political Twist Up radio show. Back on the Political Twist-Up Show, 22 minutes before 4 o'clock. Mike Calden on the telephone lines today. He's a representative in the state legislature with House Bill 4271 as a sponsor of that bill. It talks about allowing local communities the access or the ability to create rules to allow for dispensaries or provisioning centers in their areas. Rep. Calden, did I describe that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Now, going forward from here, you said that the process it's got to get through the Judiciary. Thank you, the Judiciary Committee. Then it'll get passed on to the. Actually, I guess the House would have to vote on it. Then, yes.
Yes.
And then once the House votes on it, then it goes to Senate. They'll probably go to their Judiciary, and then the Senate would have to vote, and then the governor would have to sign. Do you see any opposition at the governor's level from this? If this gets through, if we manage to get this through both places, both houses.
I have not gotten any indications either for or against this.
Okay. Fair enough. So we wanted to kind of bring in other people to talk about this subject, I guess, from a certain standpoint. Rep. Calden, is there anything that people can do if they're trying to back your bill, if they're living in a part of the state listening to this program and they would like to support you and your bill? How can they do this? How can they best assist this in getting through?
Well, a big thing they can do is to identify who their state senator and state representative is, and to contact them and let them know that they would like to see them support House Bill 4271 for safe access to medical marijuana. And I want to say this, though. Emails aren't the best. They're probably the worst way to communicate with your legislator, because we get so many emails, and because there's no stamp and it's so cheap, we're just inundated with kind of form emails.
Wow.
Better would be to send a real letter with a stamp that you invest 45 cents in, more likely to get read, but even better is to call and ask to talk to your legislator, your state senator or representative. But the best yet is like to go to one of their coffees. They all have coffees and visits, to actually make a meeting or go visit them and have a talk with them. And that is the absolute way, is face-to-face, to talk to them and ask them to support this for the safe access of medical marijuana.
Rep. Calden, thank you so much for being on the program. Anybody else have any questions before Rep. Calden goes?
We'll see you tonight at the fundraiser in Ann Arbor. We should talk about that.
Oh, yeah. You got a fundraiser going on in Ann Arbor, yes?
Yes, I am right now.
Terrific.
I'm entering the north end of Ann Arbor right now, and the fundraiser is at the art gallery, the Ann Arbor Art Gallery. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but it's being done by the National Patient Rights Association, and we're raising money to help pass House Bill 4271.
Awesome. Now this is a fundraiser for the. Is this a fundraiser for Mike Calden, or is this a fundraiser for a different organization? Just to be clarify.
Well, it's, basically, the host is the National Patient Rights Association, which is a combination of dispensaries, like the Alma of Ann Arbor is part of it.
Okay.
And that's probably a big reason why we're having it in Ann Arbor.
Terrific.
And they're raising money to pass the bill, and it's not for Mike Halton. Basically, a lot of it will go to our lobbying efforts.
Okay.
And public relations efforts.
Very well. Thank you, Rep. Carlton, for coming on and helping to sort this out and explain this bill to people so that we can figure out how to get this through. Appreciate your call today. Thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you.
So we've just in kind of furthering this topic along, and gosh, we're running out of time quickly already. This is an attorney from the actual. I always want to say Grand Rapids because we're on the air out there. It's not. It's in the Kalamazoo area. It's John Targowski. Welcome to the program, John.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How are you doing, sir? So
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can indeed. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Phil? John, are you okay? Can you hear us?
Hold on. Is that better?
That's a lot better. You had us on speakerphone, I believe. That's okay. So we can hear you now clearly. Can you hear us as well?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so I guess I wanted to have you on to talk about what, in the meanwhile, people are doing. Right now, it seems like the legislature said places have to close. Yet some places are still open. Not the legislature. I'm sorry. The court has said that the places have to close, and there are some places that yet are still.
Some people are getting cease and desist letters. A lot of people are who remain open, just citing the law, citing that they're a public nuisance. And but a few people are decentralizing a little bit, and they understand, hopefully, that what they may be doing things outside of the immunity of the act, but they're hoping to prevail on the affirmative defense. But it's not a great business model to really focus on. I mean, it's really the only true protection we have in the act. So a lot of people have to rely on it, but it's certainly a defense of last resort.
See, I guess I'm just trying to get to the idea that there's some confusion about this business about the court saying places have to close and yet some places are still open. Can we shine some light on this a little bit and say what that means and what it doesn't mean, I guess? Because I'm confused about that myself.
Because, I mean, some certain localities really have a pretty wide zone of tolerance over, what their priorities are and, whether or not they would, not only raid somebody or take down somebody, but then try to prosecute them in a courtroom. And so a lot of times, you have raids that never get prosecuted, or you have people. I mean, you have certain communities that just don't prioritize this. That's not really typical of the West Side, so it's not really been my professional experience to deal with those communities. On the West Side, they're enforcing this as tight as they can. And so it's really threatened safe access on the West Side.
So I guess, is there anything that we can tell people about, participating at that level, at this dispensary level? Is there any warning required? Or any at provisioning center level? Is there any warning required? Is this something that people should be openly doing? Is this okay? Are we going to get in trouble?
Well, it's not covered under the immunity. It's, if you're dealing with people outside of your caregiver and your patient in a networked relationship, then, yeah, you're subject to arrest and prosecution. And then it's up to you, the defendant, typically the defendant caregiver, to prove up is there a compliance with the affirmative defense. And that excuses your responsibility criminally for whatever it is you did to put you in the courtroom. So it's tenuous. I mean, it doesn't. There's a lot of people that go to a certain doctor that's currently also being prosecuted, and those people effectively, if you are in a courtroom where the rules of evidence apply to an affirmative defense hearing, then you're pretty much done because you're probably not going to be able to produce that doctor in a courtroom, let alone at a jury trial.
Okay.
Certainly. So the reliance on Section 8 is tenuous because a lot of times you don't even really know how Section 8 would truly work in your hearing, in your community, in your case. And just like in 2009 and 2010, the courts were all over the map over, various other things within the act. Now they're a little bit dispersed over really what happened, the nuts and bolts of Section 8. So we're not in a good place.
So the thumbshell question, or the thumbnail answer to the question, I guess, is it depends on how you look at it. Is that your answer? I guess I'm looking for a concise answer. What about? I need medicine. Can I go to a dispensary? Is that okay?
If you're the customer, then unless they're going to try to really test the law by aiding and abetting the buyer the seller in selling you the marijuana, then I'm pretty sure that you're not doing anything illegal.
John, if you can hang on through the break with us, we're about to hit about a 3-minute break. If you can hang on through the break with us, we'd like to invite some other people in on this conversation and carry this through to the top of the hour. We'll be right back with more on dispensaries or provisioning centers, depending on how you look at it. It's the Political Twist-Up Show.
The Political Twist-Up Show.
Hi, Buddy here at Clio Cultivation, calling out to all new growers and to remind old friends how we are different. Our number one goal is to assist you with customer service, product knowledge and selection, the guaranteed lowest prices in our industry, and inside information others don't want you to know. We have a grower's handbook by the Garden Sage for $25 that will save you countless time and money. Spend $500 on a single sale and it's free. We will help you in every way to get started and stay growing strong all year long. March specials include 8-inch Raptors, $199, 1,000-watt switchable magnetic ballast, $89.95, complete 1,000-watt systems, $179, RO machines, $149, 8 light T5s, $189, Ocean Forest and Happy Frog, $13.95, no limits. We are constantly making improvements and are proud to help you lead the way. Come to 11394 North Saginaw Road, where each relationship is personal and genuine, or call 810-686-GROW, 10 to 7 weekdays, Saturday 10 to 5. As you learn with Clio Cultivation, the only thing in the dark is the flowers.
If you or someone you know received a traffic ticket, has been charged with a misdemeanor, drinking and driving, criminal offense, or has had their driver's license taken away, they need an attorney. They need attorney Glenn McCandless. He's helped hundreds of people solve their legal problems over the past 16 years.
My law firm is dedicated to providing quality legal services at affordable rates.
Call us at 586-755-2900. Again, that's 586-755-2900. Call now.
Well, this formula is specifically to grow cannabis.
That's Ray Kogo for Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients.
Now, everybody knows that large buds and tight buds come from genetics, and then the amount of light you use. The other part is having the correct nutrients that the plant's going to use. Mine specifically to grow cannabis, so it's going to get everything that it needs.
Ray knows what you may not. Those nutrient companies you can get in most grow shops are not cannabis specific. That means they take the stuff out of the bloom that your plant needs in bloom. You can get Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients too. It's just 2 1-gallon jugs that make over 600 gallons of nutrients, all for less than $100. See the difference for yourself.
More trichomes, bigger buds, faster growth, and for less money.
Go to CANNABISformula.com or call Ray direct at 517-375-8998. That's 517-375-8998. Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients. The law offices of Targowski and Grow remind you to stand up for your rights. Always treat law enforcement with respect, but if you're detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search or seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to talk to my attorneys, John Targowski and Daniel Grow. Targowski and Grow have the education and experience you need to be successful in Michigan courts. Call Targowski and Grow toll-free, 800-957-1069. The law offices of Targowski and Grow, 800-957-1069. Hey, it's the all-new Political Twist-Up Show, and we air coast to coast in Michigan, Saturdays from 3 till 4. You don't want to miss it. Hey, check out our last show with Senator Jones and Rep. Townsend as they talked over Senate Bill 63, the Michigan Firearms Freedom Act bill.
It's absurd to say that legitimate requirements we have for pistols don't make sense for semi-automatic rifles that can be used in mass murder. I mean, I don't know a single hunter who thinks that you can get off more than 3 rounds firing at a deer. So why would somebody need to have, 30 rounds or 40 rounds? The extremism, Senator, is coming from the National Rifle Association.
No, sir, you're the extremist because we weren't
I'm not the extremist,
large
sir.
round clips. What we were talking
And I
about.
resent being called an
You said
extremist,
you
and I
wanted
think you should check yourself,
owners
sir.
of semi-automatic rifles. That, sir, is an extreme viewpoint.
Hey, find out just how extreme it gets as we go next week, broadcasting live at the THC Expo at the Rooster Tail in Detroit. It's the all-new Political Twist-Up Show. Catch us at politicaltwistup.com.
The Political Twist-Up radio show.
Okay, just about 9 minutes left in the program. We got to really rifle through stuff now. Just to give you a heads up, this is the part of the program where normally we would play a contest and offer a prize. But since that contest relies on former content and the content up until this point has been shaky, we'll just admit it. We're not going to play the contest now. We'll continue our conversation and let you know that remember stuff about this week's show and in next week's show, if we have time out at the THC Expo, because that's where we'll be broadcasting live from next week, is the THC Expo at the Rooster Tail in Detroit. Yeah. And we'll be live in Flint and Grand Rapids, provided we can get people to connect us right. With us on the phone is John Targowski, attorney at large in the Kalamazoo area, talking about...
What's up?
Hello. Talking about this local access model as it exists now until we can get something done at the legislature or with the People's Initiative in 2014, depending.
Well, now it's pretty piecemeal, and it's pretty much community to community, county to county, and it's a different, set of problems almost day to day and week to week. And a lot of people are just decentralizing and either sticking purely to the networked, Section 4 caregiver, or dealing with what I've actually heard a judge call in court during my Section 8 hearing, a Section 8 caregiver. So
a Section 8 caregiver?
Yeah, I heard him use it.
Wow.
I said it, and then he said it. I'm like, oh, my God.
We've coined a new term. John, with us on the phone, we've got somebody from the Flint area. It's Jeremy. Jeremy, are you still there? Are you on the line? Can we pull you up?
I'm here.
There he is, Jeremy Rapinski from Flint. Can you tell? Now you're associated with the Genesee County Compassion Club, yes?
Yes.
Can you give us your point of view about all of this? Tell us what's going on from your point of view.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me on your program, and also hello to Mr. Targowski there. It's an honor to
Jeremy.
Hello to
looking forward to working with you soon on that case we've been talking about.
I am as well. And speaking of court cases, obviously I know that's what we're talking about, and we're talking about being able to provide medication, utilizing the law that we have, and how do we actually go about doing that. And that's kind of the way that I look at it from a layman's term synopsis. And what I'm getting at here is do we have the legal ability to do what it is that we're supposed to be able to do, or do we not? And how do we define what parameters of that legal protection are available, and how are we going to administer that? And the problem here is that we're actually trying to break that down. And what happened was when we voted on this back 4 years ago, we simply said, hey, we want to carve out a niche in Michigan for people who need it to provide legal protection in the participation of that said previously prohibited item. And Michigan overwhelmingly said, absolutely. This is a relatively benign, harmless substance that, considering that it would be used for medicinal purposes, is absolutely allowable. It's certainly understandable and is undeniably acceptable to use as a medication. And we are going to go ahead and allow those people the legal access to that, through whatever measure it is that they basically get it. And we knew that there were certain limits on, people being able to get that medication. We didn't want to just open the floodgates. So we put some parameters in place, but the gist of it was that they could have it. And so as we continue to try to break down the law and disseminate and, interpret and clear up the gray areas, I think what we're really doing is stirring up mud. And we need to go back to what was originally said, which was, yes, you have legal protection. No, we do not want to waste resources on, prosecuting people of this nature for this process, for this product, because it's not advantageous to society, and it's actually incompassionate and inconsiderate to deny them that access.
Denise, I wanted to ask you a question with regards to this whole business about, I'm a little thrown off now. I really wanted to talk about that angle on patients and access currently. Do you have an opinion on this? Do you have a point of view about this?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, of course. Hi, Jeremy. Hi, John. Of course, I do. And I just want to thank John for coming on the air and saying very clearly what most attorneys should be saying right now, which is a Section 8 defense is a tenuous business model. I think since the McQueen decision, there have been very many interesting theories of business models floating around the community, and none of them work strictly within McQueen. And anything that works strictly within McQueen is not going to be economically feasible. So really it is a very much going to your community right now, talking to your city attorney or your municipal attorney, talking to your city council if they're amenable to talking, and taking the most conservative route while we fix this. I think we're at a low point. Obviously, the Supreme Court has made it extremely tough, and we need to make sure that we are all conservative enough and work enough with our communities that we're invited to the after party of 4271 eventually. You understand what I'm saying? I don't want to see people. I admire everyone's advocacy, tenacity, gumption, all of it. I do. I just don't want to see good people getting prosecuted before we can fix this. And that's what I'm trying to get people to do, is not to dance too firmly in the gray area.
Rick, any feedback on this at all?
Well, we've got a lot of action going on right now. The most important thing to do is to follow Rep. Calton's advice. Handwrite those letters. Jamie Lowell and I, who's in the studio with us,
we didn't even mention that. Jamie Lowell from Third Coast Compassion Center in the studio.
We did a seminar in Ypsilanti at Third Coast where handwritten letters were submitted to legislators. That is very effective, and when you explain that to people, they're willing to do it. So that should be the movement going forward, where we focus our energy.
Jamie, do you have any opinion on this? Do you want to chime in at all?
No, Jamie has no opinion.
Jamie's like a fly on the wall.
To this issue at all.
I'm just here to watch. You guys talk amongst yourselves. Jeremy, let me ask you this: how secure are you right now? I know Flint's in a kind of a special circumstance, like the people in Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti seem to be in. Are you looking over your shoulder at all? Are you feel pretty comfortable about where you guys are at up there?
I mean, no, of course not. Do I feel comfortable? I'm a federal criminal. I'm a criminal to, half the people in the state, except for a few handful of people that happen to live around me. So, no, I don't feel comfortable at all.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, I feel just as much comfort as I did when the law passed. And that's enough for me to do what I need to do, and I think it's enough for everybody else to do what they need to do as well. We just need to stand up and put a stop to this nonsense.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree, and I think anybody, and this stands for caregivers in the system too. Anybody that's willing to stick their neck out, their legal neck out, their freedom neck out, to provide medicine to somebody who is in desperate need of it is worthy of congratulations and heroes welcome, because that's what they are.
Yep.
Jeremy, John Targowski, thanks for joining us on the program today. Denise, Jamie, Ryan, Rick, I don't know. Thanks for coming to the show and being a part of the program. A bunch of the program was eaten up by, my big mouth and a bunch of the people on the phone today, but I think we got some stuff accomplished. Next week, we're live out at THC Expo. That's going to be a lot of fun, so join us there. You want to say
Anyone
something?
not making it to the expo, I will be speaking at the Clare Compassion Club in Clare, Michigan on Saturday.
Indeed. So, good luck on that affair.
The MDA Muscle Walk on Sunday also.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Join us for the Political Twist-Up Show, and you can get details and updates at politicaltwistup.com. Thanks for coming.
The Multimedia Digital Network. 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 The Multimedia Digital Network.